Welcome to This Week in Morgan County. I'm your host, Russell Mokhiber. Our guest this week is Wade Shambaugh. Wade is Chief Deputy in the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, and he's running for Sheriff of Morgan County. He'll be on the Republican primary ballot on May 10th, running against Casey Boer and Kim Stahler. Wade, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here, thank you.
Tell us about yourself. You born and raised in Morgan County?
I was born in the old hospital right here in Berkeley Springs, and grew up in Paw Paw, graduated from Paw Paw High School, and still live in Paw Paw, far into the county up along the river.
Okay, and tell us your work history throughout your life.
Well, when I got out of school, like a lot of kids locally, worked on the farm, worked in the woods, pulpwood timber, but shortly after getting out of high school, got into steel work. I did structural steel work for a long time.
Where was that? Where was it?
Savez Steel Company out of Winchester,
okay.
Virginia. But as I got in my 30s, you start becoming more aware and wanting to give something to the community, wanting to contribute to the community. And that was a good job, and it paid the bills, good steady work, but I really didn't feel like I was doing anything except for making a living and making money for somebody else, and started looking into trying to find some way to give back to the community. So my first law enforcement job went to work for Town of Paw Paw Police Department. And I was there for 4 years, and while there also worked part-time, which is quite common in the county. I worked for Berkeley Springs Police Department as well. And
this is when you were in your 30s you started working?
Yeah,
okay.
Started in my 30s, yeah. And then, like most guys in law enforcement in the county, and unfortunately a lot statewide, you had to have a second job or had to have a way to make some money. And I was very fortunate to be able to start doing site contract security work for the federal government, which was, you could, flexible hours and good pay, and it really made a good setup for a guy working law enforcement.
So it's construction work or?
No, security work.
Security work. Security work down in DC, Baltimore area?
No, Martinsburg.
Martinsburg, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of federal sites
right.
In Martinsburg, but it was everything from building security, gate security, controlling access, controlling ID badges, controlling access to places in the buildings. Even at one point we controlled the command center, cameras, radio systems, telephone systems. Good experience that's actually transferred over well to doing courthouse security here.
And so you were with Paw Paw Police, Berkeley Springs Police, contracting out with federal facilities in Martinsburg.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then when did you join the Morgan County Sheriff?
Came to the Sheriff's Department in 2004.
Okay. And what took you there?
Just the natural progression of things. When you're working for a town, the elected officials change, and some groups are great to work with, some groups not so great to work with, and at that point just kind of felt like it'd be better to work in an environment where your supervisor was law enforcement.
Okay. Now, give us like an outline of the law enforcement agencies in Morgan County.
In Morgan County? Okay. Well, the two municipalities are the Town of Paw Paw, which is a small town. They typically have one or two full-time people, and at different times
police officers?
Police officers, yes.
Okay.
Police officers. And at times deputies have worked part-time for them. Also, Berkeley Springs PD officers have worked part-time for them. Of course, the other town is Town of Bath, Berkeley Springs.
2 or 3 police officers?
And they have typically 2 or 3 full-time, and at times Paw Paw PD officers have worked for them, and or deputies have worked for them. It's a close-knit law enforcement
And
community.
are most of those police officers local guys?
Yeah, for
Morgan County people?
Right, for the most part. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's the Sheriff's Department and the State Police. Are those the 4 law enforcement in Morgan County?
Right.
Okay.
Town of Paw Paw, Berkeley Springs, the Sheriff's Office, and West Virginia State Police Detachment.
All right. How many, before we get to the Sheriff's Office, how many police officers are at the State Police Barracks?
Typically about 4, but as you know, the state's experiencing cutbacks, so that's kind of up in the air. So I don't want to speak for them, really say where they're going to end up at, but it very well could end up as less.
All right. And those mostly are not local guys, right? Or are they local guys?
Well, and we've been fortunate enough that some of them are. Some of the guys have stayed here and been here a long time. Sergeant Peer just retired. He had moved here and lived here, been here a long time. Sergeant Davis owns a home here, as does Sergeant Peer, have been here a long time. And some of the younger guys come through. I mean, they get transferred here from somewhere else. Some of them try to stay, and some of them are trying to get back home.
Okay. And then Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's Department, how many police officers?
The Sheriff's Department has a sheriff and 10 deputies right now, have 6 bailiff slots, which are all part-time except for one. You have a lead bailiff, which is a full-time slot. We have a process server, and it's serves civil papers, subpoenas, that type of stuff.
What's the budget of the Sheriff's Department?
You know what? I don't have his numbers with me.
Okay. And so, basically we're talking 2 in Paw, 2 or 3 in Paw, 2 or 3 Town of Bath, 4 at the state. So that's, that's 8. And how many at the Sheriff's Office?
11.
11. Okay, so it's about 20 police officers from Morgan County. Something like that.
Give or take.
And everybody is cordial and works together generally?
Yeah, generally. Oh, we have to. I mean, it can become, it's not just a matter of professional courtesy and a matter of the best way to serve the public. I mean, quite frankly, it's a matter of survival. I mean, you have to know that you have people that you can depend on. You have to know them well, and you have to have a general concern for each other. If you have 2 deputies out in the county and 1 Berkeley Springs PD officer, 1 trooper, if you're lucky to have that many guys out, and another, maybe another guy on the other end of the county in Paw, if at a good staffing time, if you have 4 people out and 2 of those guys have somebody under arrest and you have a bad crash somewhere, your manpower can be used up quickly, very quickly. So if someone gets in a bad situation, officers often respond from home.
How is it decided if there's overlap of jurisdiction? How decided who responds to what?
Honestly, staffing short enough. It's quite honestly just who's available and who can answer up. If they put out a typical 911 call in Morgan County, is put out to any state or county unit. Okay, of course, if it's within the towns and the town has someone on and available, that's their primary jurisdiction. But in the county, it's put out as any available state or county unit.
All right, so let's say a breaking and entering. Is that Sheriff's Department or state police?
Whoever can respond.
Whoever can?
Whoever is available. Whoever.
And is it often the case that multiple do respond to the same incident?
Oh, sure, absolutely. It's not unusual at all to have a deputy and a trooper respond to the same in-progress call.
Okay.
Very common.
What's the status of criminal activity in Morgan County? What are the major concerns?
Okay, the major concerns, the biggest problem we have right now, and a lot of our other crime comes off of, is the heroin problem, okay? And the public at large, and even a lot of politicians, don't understand where we're at with the heroin problem in Morgan County, okay? The big dealers have pretty much been put out of business. The guys that were coming up here from Baltimore operating, the local people who were making a lot of money at it, we did controlled buys off of them. We worked it, pretty much put them out of business. The heroin situation in Morgan County is now, and it varies at times as people go to jail and get out, is you have 12 or 15 addicts going to Baltimore, getting enough heroin for them and 3, 4, 5, 6 of their friends.
All right, now, are these, when you say 12 to 15, you're saying that these are born and raised people here. These are not...
Some, and some people who have moved in. Some of them are family names that are very common here, and some of them are people who have moved in here.
Does the Sheriff's Department know who these 12 to 15 people are?
At any given time, most of them. And like I said, it changes. At times, people move in, people move out, people go to prison. And it changes, but it's an ongoing problem. And it's not just a heroin problem. That's where our burglaries come from. It's mostly addicts. It's where our larcenies come from. It's mostly addicts. It creates the problem. But what's misunderstood a lot by the public in general is it's a very popular thing to say now, you have to stop arresting addicts. You need to get the dealers. You have to stop arresting addicts. Well, here it's a local problem. Our dealers are addicts.
The 12, primarily the 12 are both dealing and addicts.
And I'm throwing that number
just
out
rough.
there.
It's a rough number.
That it changes. Like I said, people go to jail, people move in, people switch areas. You know, someone's getting in a lot of trouble, drawing a lot of attention in Martinsburg, they may start showing up here more in Hancock or what have you. But yeah, that's the dynamic of the heroin problem here. And we fight that battle.
How are you fighting it?
Every
How
day.
are you fighting it?
On several different levels. Of course, from a law enforcement standpoint, we know our community. We know who's who. We have a good system with the public. We have a good system with former addicts, people who have been arrested, who've done rehab stuff. We have a good system with that. We have a good relationship with the school and with the Morgan County Partnership as far as awareness, training, finding help, and that sort of stuff is getting better. It's not nearly where it needs to be as far as treatment and prevention, but from a law enforcement standpoint, the last big snowstorm we had, okay? Mm-hmm. And this is a very small town problem, and that's our end of fighting it. Everybody knew that nobody was going to be moving around much for 4 or 5 days. We knew these guys weren't going to want to be without heroin for 4 or 5 days, quite frankly. So we're watching for people that we think are going to be bringing heroin into town. And we actually got a bust. And
how does that work? I mean, you're sitting out on the border at Berkeley County on Route 9 and...
Well, I mean, the biggest trip, the most common trip from here, and it's not any secret, I'm not giving anything away, is to Baltimore. You have Route 70 right here, an hour and a half there in Baltimore, okay? But yeah, obviously you have to have a legitimate reason to stop someone other than common knowledge that they're a dealer, but a lot of these same people do have financial problems and stuff, and a lot of times their vehicles aren't legal and that type of thing, and we're watching for that type of stuff and look for a legitimate reason to make a stop and find it. And quite honestly, that's exactly what happened before the last big snowstorm. We got a pretty decent heroin bust because we knew, and that's a local problem. We don't have the resources or the manpower to intercept the heroin at the harbor in Baltimore.
Right.
People who are saying that kind of stuff either don't know or they're intentionally misleading the public for their own purposes. I can't make pie in the sky promises when I've been here doing a job for 16 years. I know how much money we have, I know how many guys we have, I know what we can do. Anytime we find out a way to do something better, we do it. We do the best we can every day. We've been here working hard every day. Everybody in our department cares about it, it's part of the community. So I don't have the luxury, and not that I wish to anyway, that someone who hasn't done the job has of making promises that I already know they can't keep. I have to be straight with the people. Mm-hmm. And it's a battle. It's a battle we're fighting every day. We are never going to eliminate it. But just because your lawn grows back, it doesn't mean you quit cutting it.
And speaking of mowing the lawn, are you having success on the battle? I mean, 12's any heroin problem is a problem, but right. 12 doesn't sound like a huge number.
And we do not.
Is that down from higher levels?
Oh, absolutely.
Down from what?
Absolutely.
Where was it? We used to indict so many people at grand jury, so many drug dealers, we took them to jail on a school bus. I mean, the current sheriff has made tremendous headway with this problem. That's Vince, right?
That is Vince, who actually is a distant cousin of mine, same last name, common name in the county. A lot of people think we're brothers, which I'd be proud if he was my brother, good guy, has done a good job. And that's another big part of my campaign, is trying to keep him in the system and working. He's term limited from running anymore.
Right, but you say that you would make him a lieutenant?
Chief deputy.
So in other words, you guys would just switch?
Just switch, we'd keep right on working on the stuff that we have, using all the relationships that we have in place. the networking that we have in place.
Now, Pete, let me just stop you for a second, because that is, as you know, that's an issue in the campaign. People are saying, why should this be a family operation?
Right.
But what your argument is, hey, we're making progress.
Right.
Why change?
Why throw that away? All the good work we've done and the contacts we have. And just to clarify, okay, we didn't really know each other until we got into law enforcement. His family was this side of the county. I mean, in this county you have Stotlers and Millers and Shambaughs. It's very common.
You're not first cousins.
Not first.
It's something distant.
Like
cousin.
third cousins.
Okay.
And we were hired by different sheriffs. It was not like that he became sheriff and hired me or anything like that. Bill Spitzer hired Vince. Ronnie McIntyre hired me. And and as I say that, I want to be clear, I'm far from trying to distance myself from him, because I think he's a tremendous officer, he's a tremendous man, he's done a tremendous job, and he's still a young guy and has a lot to offer and has his finger on the pulse of what's going on in this county. And I think we should use him. We'd be foolish not to use him and keep using him and letting him work here and continue building on the success he's had.
Okay, so one of your platforms is we've taken this bad drug problem and reduced it, this heroin problem.
Absolutely.
We're down now, because you hear people say heroin's a big problem in Morgan County, but what you're saying, you've dropped that level to a manageable level.
It is a big problem. Any is too much, and we live in a low crime area, and we like it quiet here. I live here. Mm-hmm. I've been fortunate to travel extensively and been to a lot of really cool places, nice places. Never found anywhere I like as well as here. I really like it here. And we don't want any crime here, but you go just as far away as Martinsburg, and it's a whole nother world than here. It's a whole nother world.
Yes.
I mean, we have a good low crime area, and we can always improve on it, and we are improving on it.
What is, okay, so heroin is one issue.
Yep.
Top issue. What else, in terms of criminality in Morgan County, what are other crime problems?
Prescription pills are a big issue as well. That falls right in with the heroin. And a lot of the other crime, the burglaries and that type of stuff, is a result of addicts, a result of the heroin problem and the pill problem. And of course, you always have the small town community, the alcohol-related type crimes, DUI. And we're one of the, and I don't have the statistics with me, but we're one of the best, for our size, one of the best, hardest working DUI departments in the state. And we have a couple of our guys are always ranked in the top guys. And when you consider that that's including police departments that work in college towns, like Morgantown and places like that, that we always have a couple guys right in the top ranks for DUIs, it shows how hard we work on that.
Do you think that is there any statistical evidence showing that cracking down on DUIs, and I guess most Morgan County residents, when they think of the sheriff's department, they're thinking, if I'm not going 25 coming into town, I'm going to be stopped. That's one thing.
Well, that's actually more of a town.
Is that the town doing that?
The towns run more traffic and write more traffic stuff than what the sheriff's department
Okay, so
does.
what's the DUI program? How do you do it? How do you enforce it?
Several different ways. I mean, just general patrol, and at times there are checkpoints, but the state also, traffic safety, also provides grant money at times to work DUI grants to bring extra guys out and work it. And it's really a matter of public safety. I mean, you know, and a very high percentage of serious automobile accidents are alcohol related. And it's not something that we need to, let up on or to lose focus.
Do you find did you see a correlation? I mean, do you believe that you have saved lives with your DUI program?
Absolutely. I think that, we have less traffic accidents because of that, and because of aggressive patrolling. It also makes it much harder for drug dealers, people looking to commit burglaries, thefts. But having officers out working aggressively patrolling, it also eliminates that. And we've seen direct evidence of that. We ended up I can't remember if it was a drug search warrant, some type of search warrant, getting a phone. And the guy had, right on his phone, he texted somebody else tonight, I'm scared to drive tonight, Jenkins is working, who's one of our top DUI guys, who works a lot of traffic. When you have their attention that much, that you have a drug dealer saying, I'm afraid to drive tonight, Jenkins is working, we'll take that as a hell yeah.
Well, you know, your opponents seem like decent guys.
Absolutely.
I've spoken to them. We're going to interview all of them before we put this on.
Yeah.
Tell us about why you think you're the best guy for the job.
Okay. Well, and I agree with you. I think they are both decent guys. I'm the only one with any significant law enforcement experience in Morgan County. Mr. Stotler's never worked a day of law enforcement in his life. He's been a prison guard, which, I mean, I don't see how that qualifies you to work law enforcement or to work as a sheriff or to lead a department when you've never even worked for that type of department. Mr. Boer has a long, extensive career, great-looking resume. He's never worked in a small community like this. It's an entirely different atmosphere than having 100 guys and people assigned being able to work just their specific jobs and having a big budget and having a lot of resources. It's just an entirely different world. And I'm not saying anything against either one of those guys. I think that my experience and what I do here and have done here and continue to do here just makes me a lot better man for the job.
Well, there was an issue I saw in some of your materials. There was an issue at the courthouse and Courthouse Security and what you guys did there. What was the issue about Courthouse Security? Putting in a security system or something?
Oh, some of the public doesn't like to have to pass through metal detector and have packages x-rayed and stuff, but I mean, we're living in a different type of world. And if you come through the courthouse, come in anytime, it's not a prohibitive process. It's you put your belongings on a conveyor belt, they're x-rayed, we see if somebody has a weapon, they come through a metal detector, we can tell. It's just a matter of public safety. It's not prohibitive. The bailiffs are very friendly. We've upgrade training all the time, upgrade personnel when we can, more qualified people. Sergeant Peer, who just retired from state police, is one of our bailiffs. So he retired, early 50s, young guy, healthy, with the state police. He's a member of the SRT team, very well trained. So you have a nice, friendly guy that everybody knows in the community. Everybody likes greeting people at the courthouse. But if something bad happens, he's very capable of taking care of it. That's what we need. The days of having, unfortunately, an 80-year-old guy to greet people coming into the courthouse are over. We don't live in that type of world anymore.
I just had a thought. The deputies who work in the sheriff department, is it enough to make a living in Morgan County, or are they still working, consulting elsewhere?
Everybody has to have a second job.
Second job. It's not enough. And if I'm going to listen to the police scanner in Morgan County, what other than DUI and drugs, what am I picking up? Who's calling in about what?
Domestics. Domestic situations. I mean, and you're always going to have that, fights within the home.
And give us how that's dealt with, how sheriff's deputies deal with that.
Well,
it doesn't end in arrest usually, does it?
Not if it's verbal. If it's physical, it ends in arrest. Yeah. We can't arrest people for yelling at each other. If they put hands on each other, they get arrested.
Okay. And the primary is May 10th. There's no Democrat running.
There is not.
And so whoever wins May 10th effectively becomes the sheriff.
That's the story.
I mean, do you go on the ballot? You go on the ballot in November, right?
Right.
But there's no opponent. So whoever wins this wins the, and that means that independents and Republicans can vote. Like an independent, if they choose the Republican primary ballot, they can vote in the Republican primary. Yeah. Republicans can, but Democrats cannot.
Right, independent, no party, anybody except for a Democrat can choose the Republican ballot.
Okay. Well, good luck to you. We're going to interview the other two candidates, and then we'll put them all up so people can see who to vote for.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you very much, and thank you for watching This Week in Morgan County.